And now it's time for a news break presentation from 106.3 FM The Big One and Hometown TV 13. It's the Middlesboro City Council meeting.
Ask for our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Wilson, if you call roll, please.
Philip Ball.
Here.
Kevin Barnett.
Here.
Lucas Carter. Ronnie Carter. Evelyn Foreman. Here. Bo Green.
Here.
Doug Hughes.
Here.
Gary Mills.
Here.
James Percival.
Motion to enter reports, and they're enclosed. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, we move forward. Motion to enter list of city bills paid, and it's enclosed.
Make a motion.
Second. On that, I please need a roll call.
Philip Ball.
Aye.
Kevin Barnett.
Aye.
Evelyn Foreman.
Aye.
Bo Green.
Aye.
Doug Hughes.
Aye.
Gary Mills.
Aye.
James Percival.
Next is approval of minutes of special call meeting held Tuesday, April 24th, 2012, and it's enclosed.
Make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Next is motion to open and consider bids for blacktop per ton laid, and there are two here.
Make a motion.
I need a motion second.
Second.
Got a second. All in favor?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
For this, is there an area we're paving, or how does that work? Going
Basically, when we do our municipal road aid hearing and all, which will be done here in a couple weeks, sometimes we put specific roads in, other times we'll put specific roads in and then cover everything in our encompass. And the reason we do that sometimes, Bo, is so that we can go ahead, if we have one that tears up or is spider web bad and we're watching it, we want to be able to do some. But some of them, we were going to go ahead with our municipal road aid.
I guess my question is that, we've talked about it before, if we keep paving up and up, is there any plans to start going back down?
Well, that's something I think you're talking about when you say go back
Elevation, just
down,
take
go
the
ahead
asphalt
and
back.
redo.
Yeah.
That's something as we move forward, I think we need to discuss, and I think we have certain roads we need to look at. Most of them that we've run trouble in have been the couple that are state, with the exception of through the years where we've paved above curbs and everything else, and it has caused some water troubles and issues because we can't get the water to our culverts to get it out when that happens. That's something, if you all want to discuss as we go, I think the street department, that would be a good one on it. But, and something we might need as we move ahead, Gary, is try to get maybe some of the contractors and all to come in and maybe give us a little better educational background on it so we have an idea what kind of cost that would be to recycle or to take up if it is recyclable, things like that. Okay? So in a street meeting, we can do that as we go. Appreciate that, Mr. Green. With that being said, all in favor of opening? Open.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, we'll open. The first one is Willis Paving Incorporated. This was asphalt laid in place per ton surface asphalt at $70.93. And the one thing I'm going to recommend with everybody is we check with all companies, as we do all, is to look and make sure liabilities and stuff, we'll follow up on any of them. So if that question comes up, you'll know that's something I'll be asking of each and every contractor. We try to keep it on file for a lot of them, but we will follow back up on everything. This is from Hinkle Contracting, and it's attention to the mayor, and it's, we hereby submit bids on the following asphalt paving item as advertised. CL2 asphalt surface PG 64-22 in place, and it's at $68.15 per ton. And this is quoted to us. So we've got two.
Does this need to go to the street department committee?
I was gonna say, we can take best bid, right?
We do most of the time. I mean, we have it a lot. We need to, you know, that's something that's up to you all. If you all want to discuss, it's open for discussion before we do anything, and we can do whichever way.
Mayor, I would not be opposed to letting you check into this and pick one. Just give you permission to do so. They're close. I don't know anything about either one of them myself.
Well, Hinkle's done it last year for us, and that's the old Emerald Rivers. So
Yeah.
They done a lot of work for us in the
Mayor,
past.
do you know how much it was last year?
Yeah, actually, it's down from last year. If I'm not mistaken, it was right at $72 last year. Just shy of 72, I believe. Huh?
Bid was $69.75.
Last year?
Yeah, 60.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually dropped.
It's actually come down a little on that one? Okay.
They paid a few roads for us last year too, didn't they, Mayor?
Yeah, we've had,
It looked good.
and as I can say, I'll speak for both. I think no matter which way we go, we get quality, we've got good people. I will say that, there's good people working in both groups. I can speak up for both, have worked with them in different occasions on many things, not in Blacktop specifically, but through it all, and I can say we do have good people, so it's really
For my
cancer.
part, I don't know much about Blacktop or Rainer or anything about it. I know you've done it before, and I'd be willing to let the mayor check into these two and take the best bid.
You want to make that a form of motion?
I will.
I'll second it.
What do you, I mean, by best bid, if you just comparing apples to apples, like, I mean, if they are.
No, it's not apples to apples, it's apples and oranges and bananas, and it would be up to somebody to decide who can do it the best and under what circumstances and with what guaretees and that type of thing. It's actually over my head. You're in construction, you may know more about it than I do.
Yeah, I do. The other day.
I was gonna say Kevin.
I think they done a great job for us last year, and ain't no problem going again this year. They got the lowest bid. And
Well, that would suit me too.
Well, we do have one motion, we need to
Well,
see if there's a second or
I'm
not.
gonna, I second it, but I'm taking mine back.
Okay, I'll withdraw,
Okay.
I'll
I mean,
withdraw.
With that being rescinded, I will open the floor back up for a motion.
I make a motion we accept the lowest bid. It's saving the city
I'll
money.
second.
They done work for us in the past. They know they do good work, but I want to keep.
I just want, I mean, I just, as long as they're
Yeah.
bidding the same, I'm okay with that as well, but I just think, I mean, I don't know if you can make a motion based upon the review to make sure they're apples to apples, and then, you know, take the lowest bid there.
Well, see, I'm not familiar with Willis at all. It would be,
But
It ain't like
for
we're
me to
going
make a
with-
decision.
Yeah, I mean,
Hinkle's got the lowest bid. It ain't like we don't know who they are. They
Yeah, I
done it
agree.
Last year, they was Emeralds, the same crew that done it when Emeralds was here, and they do have the lowest bid, so.
I agree.
Isn't Greer the one that did the roads in Morristown? The old Greer or something? Is that what you're talking about?
We did the big part of it.
That was part, they're not part of this now, they were bought out by Hinkle, our area was. But it's the same
These are
people,
the
it's
things I
just,
don't know.
yeah, same plant, same people.
And we got plenty.
You're on the right
And
track.
I'm comfortable with Hinkle, they do good work.
Okay. Well, we've got a first and a second, so what I would ask for is a roll call on that.
Philip Ball,
Aye.
Kevin Barnett,
Uh,
Ellen Farmer. Aye. Bo Green, Doug Hughes,
Aye.
Gary Mills,
Aye.
James Percival.
With, you said aye? Okay. With that being said, one thing I would like to ask the council is, one problem we do have sometimes is when we need patching and we need things like that. I'd like the opportunity at least sit with both groups to ask for an FOB price also. That isn't something we normally bid, but it allows us, if we need patching, if we need stuff, and one plant's not open or the other is or something, we're not caught. That's one reason I didn't want to ask for an FOB, because that happens sometimes.
Do
So
you need a motion on that?
well, I think we probably do. I think we do on that. And did everyone understand, the motion is just to give me a chance to negotiate with both groups on a FOB price. in case we pick it up.
What are you calling FOB?
Us picking it up at plant.
Okay.
For pothole patch.
Because I'm definitely, I'll tell both of them, and I love the heck out of all of them, I'm not gonna pay 68 or 70 to pick it up now. I'm gonna negotiate that part a little bit. So if we could do that, that's something we did as a county, and it worked well for us in a lot of
Call
ways.
for the motion.
You need a motion.
I have a
First,
Question,
need a
I
second.
call for the question.
Have we got a second?
Second.
Okay, I'd take a roll call.
Philip Ball,
Aye.
Kevin Barnett,
Aye.
Evelyn Farmer, Bo Green,
Aye.
Doug Hughes,
Aye.
Gary Mills,
Aye.
and James Parsons.
Next is consideration of an ordinance amending the code of ordinances related to all parks and recreational facilities in the city of Middlesboro, Kentucky. This is second reading. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Wilson.
Does anybody have last week's agenda with them?
You didn't bring it?
No. I can use it if you like.
Okay.
Okay. An ordinance amending the code of ordinances relating to all parks and recreational facilities in the city of Middlesboro, Kentucky. Section 1, the City of Middlesboro Code of Ordinances, Chapter 92, Curfew, Ordinance 9596, Number 2, passed 9595, is hereby amended as follows. 92.01, definitions. E, city park, any recreational facility owned, operated, or maintained by the City of Middlesboro, to include picnic areas, shelters, pools, playgrounds, facilities, and equipment for engaging in any sport or activity, basketball, horseshoes, skating, etc. Restroom, buildings, and grounds encompassing any such area. 92.05, park hours. A, city park hours are 6 a.m. until 12 a.m. midnight daily, year-round, except as provided for in paragraph B. No person is permitted to be on any park premises between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. This paragraph shall not be construed as an indication that any particular service or functions of a park will be available during all open hours. Seasonal and staffing limitations may apply to recreational functions. B, park hours may be extended for city-sponsored special events, sporting events conducted by city-sanctioned leagues, organizations, or by a specific approval of the executive authority or his designee. Events held at the community center under a rental agreement are subject to the terms agreed upon at any applicable administrative policy. In the event of extended hours, a city official shall notify the police department when all functions are complete and the affected park is to be closed. C, the police department is directed to regularly patrol all city parks closed hours. If any person is discovered unlawfully on park premises, they are to be immediately removed from said premises. Officers may issue a warning for a first offense if no other violation or statute or ordinances are discovered. In the event of enforcement action, an officer may elect to charge an offender pursuant to state trespassing statutes, KRS Chapter 511, if he has determined that the offender has been previously charged with a violation of this ordinance. 92.99, penalty. Any parent, guardian, or person having legal custody allowing a minor to violate 92.02B shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be subject to a fine of no more than $500 or imprisonment for a period of not to exceed 6 months or both. Any person found in violation of 92.05A shall be subject to a fine of no more than $100. This ordinance shall take effect after its passage and upon publication according to Kentucky Revised Statutes.
I'd ask for a motion to accept second reading.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please on that.
Philip Ball.
Aye.
Kevin Barnett.
Aye.
Evelyn Farmer. Bo Green.
Aye.
Doug Hughes. Gary Mills.
Aye.
James Parsons.
With that, we'll move to committee reports, Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, we had a committee meeting last week to discuss the upcoming 4th of July celebration and talked about who all the vendors was we was getting our stuff from, and we're gonna have it on Wednesday, the day of the 4th. And if anybody out there would like to make any more donations to help out, feel free to contact me or somebody that wants any kind of donations will help. And the pool should be open Memorial Day weekend. Everything's on track with that. I went out there and Johnny has done a real good job painting that. It looks great. So everything should be on. I think Tim's that are filling up now, so everything's on track for the pool to be open.
Anyone else on Parks and Recreation? I will bring up a little thing on it. We have been looking at some new, corrections or add-ons into the Disability Act, the ADA Act of many years ago. And it does cause us to look at the possibility of maybe a lift, some work on our steps, or some kind of platform into the pool. We have pulled every bit of that up, and we're studying it right now. We think it's not gonna be a lot more than us adjusting the stairs as they are, but it could, and as we move forward, we'll do whatever we need to, one way or the
My
other.
understanding on that was that the lift, according to federal government, is supposed to be a permanent lift that will lift somebody out.
Yeah, well, but they give you on a pool that's 300 foot linear foot, 5 or 6 different options.
Okay.
And that's what we were looking at again today. We had price lists and thought about going directly, and the chief and I had a chance today to pull a bunch of that up and look at it. And we think there's some things where we can either modify the stairway with a ramp type deal, or put some other bracing in as far as walking in. And we're looking at each of them. We have a company right now looking at the list for us if that's a way we have to go. But if I can get by without that expense, and it still is safe and works just fine for everyone. That's the one thing. I understand the Handicap and the Disability Act, and I understand why they're doing it. But we also got to look at it a way to get into our budget that fits all needs necessary.
What I had read was it's even priced, applies to private pools, like country clubs. or-
Hotels, country clubs,
Everybody,
anything. Yeah, just not a residential is the only one so far. They've left free, it
And
looks like.
that's quite an expense.
Yeah, it is. But we are looking at it, and we are trying to make sure the regs we do meet, and we are in compliance. And one thing I want to do, I've got a gentleman sitting here, Mr. Cloud, I want to thank him some, because he was able to pull some information up early for me to help me with some of that through some reports he had got at the Daily News, and I do appreciate that. This was changed in 2010, and we never got anything actually here that I can find, but it doesn't mean somewhere through the years it might have been sent, might not have, I doubt it, but that's where we found out and did, and I appreciate that. Anybody else at Parks and Recreation?
Mayor,
Kurt?
is it still going to be free this year? Pineville has implemented a $2 charge for their pool. Will it be free for Middlesboro citizens?
We have not actually put our budget out, but we are working our budget with the assumption we can still provide it at free. It still comes down if this group here can accept the budget as is and move with that part. I know I can speak this way, I can't say they will or won't, but I can tell you with 10 people sitting here, I'm sure all 10 would love to still provide it free if possible. It just, we haven't passed our budget, so I can't say with certainty until our budget goes into place. Okay, thank you. Personnel.
No report.
Safety. Mr. Carter isn't here, and one thing he wanted is just let me remind people about, and we get our reports in here, I think sometimes it's astonishing seeing if you look and see how many calls between our police, fire, and others we put out there. It's a large number, and we appreciate the media for sometimes getting a chance to be able to put that out, because we are proud of our departments. We're proud of all our departments, but them two fall into the safety. Sewer. He's on. Street Department.
Since we discussed earlier, we might need to meet, I'd like to call for a street department meeting at 6:30 on the second Tuesday, I believe
Okay.
it is, of
Okay.
next month.
Of June?
Yes.
Second, okay.
Mayor, I'm confident the street department, hole on Common Avenue, it's worked on the next day, I think.
They got to it pretty quick after you brought it to the attention, and that's one thing we will try. I can guarantee that group will try to, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Real quick.
On that date, so we all have it, that will be the 12th day of June.
Is that, at the last meeting, we adopted subcommittees to be at 5 o'clock. Is this, I mean, how does that work? I mean, is this?
Do we have any other meetings that day, Bo?
No, I'm just saying we adopted that. I thought we were gonna follow that meeting schedule, but I mean, it's okay to be a special call. I just didn't know if we
Well, the
would.
mayor said that we could call on it any time, you know, if we wanted.
My understanding of it is the chair was gonna be able to make
Okay.
that. Now, that was mine. If we need to get more specific, that's something I guess you need to put into.
Well, Bo, I had a meeting scheduled for last
Right.
Tuesday, and when I called the clerk and Betty Emmett both, they pretty well told me what the mayor had said, is that if the chairman does not call a meeting, it doesn't exist. And that- But
Yeah, because like I told y'all, we can't,
So
this
that's
is
what I was
not
told.
part of the statute of the organization to where I can schedule. It has to be to Miss Emmett from the chair or whichever department.
So
Now,
last
you
time,
all can
nobody
table
asked for
this.
a meeting. This time we do need one, so that's why I would call for
If
it.
we gotta do it that way, I'd like to have another park and recreation meeting just to follow up on everything before that'd be the last meeting we have for the 4th of July, so.
When's it?
Second Tuesday night, we'll do Gary's, we'll do it the same night.
We can do it probably between 6:30 and 7 both,
But
but
yeah, fine with me.
just say 6:30 for both, and whenever one runs out, we'll go to the second.
That'll be the last time we can meet before the 4th of July.
Now, to get me clear, Mayor, what is it you're wanting us now to specifically discuss? So
Oh, on the street?
yes,
Is what happens sometimes in the past, we take a bid, and usually you just have one bid. When we had the luxury of having a couple people in the county, it worked well, where if we needed to patch, if Mr. Gent needs to patch,
you just grab one.
if Middlesboro's shut, we've got nowhere to go. We either got to go up Virginia, and that's sometimes testy with the trucks, because you're not always gonna get up there and back without being stopped sometimes. Let's leave it there. But with that being said, this would give us an option to go to Harrogate or to Middlesboro and pick it up, because once you go to Barville and Virginia, you're almost too far to get back in and be able to lay it.
So
So,
basically, what you'd like is a recommendation from the committee to allow you the permission to patchwork as you
Yes.
see fit.
yeah, and also I want to negotiate with them, because I don't think we
Yes.
ought to pay that tonnage.
That's what I'm
Oh, no,
talking
we
You know, and we definitely need to get a price set so we can get it fit into our budget.
So negotiation power.
Yes, sir, I'd appreciate it.
That's fine.
Anyone else on the street? What?
I'm good.
I'd like to say that after her husband, every time you turn around, them boys are working. I don't never see none of them sitting around. I think they're doing a good job, especially the crew from Cross Mountain.
I think every department's stepped up and done a lot, and we appreciate it. Anyone else in the street? Move to community development.
I've had 2 questions to ask. One is about abandoned vehicles around town.
Yes,
I know
sir.
We have an ordinance, and they wanted to see if we could start maybe looking into that around
Okay.
town. And the second one is about yard sale signs. Do we have any kind of rule or ordinance that controls that?
I gotta honestly say, I need to go back and research that some. There is something, if I'm not mistaken, in there, Mr. Percival, about signs being left and stuff, but
Some
we
of them are
need to go
falling
back
into
and
culverts
revisit.
around town.
Yeah, and they get into our drainage and everything else. I mean, it is something. But let me, before I speak, I'd rather revisit it
That's
if
fine,
I
I just.
could.
Well,
Okay.
the gentleman on 30th Street, Mayor, one said he was actually putting them on his trees in his point of his yard. And he had a little problem with that, I don't blame him.
I'm not,
That's fine, if you just let us.
we
know.
might ought to study that one just a little bit.
Yeah.
We might need to study that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyone else in community
Ms.
development?
Casey? Casey might have something.
Yes, ma'am.
Bear with me, I got a lot to say. I just wanted to update you on the businesses that we've gotten downtown. Since January, we've gotten 4 new businesses downtown. Wagon Tails, which is a pet grooming shop that's located North 20th Street beside of Edward Jones. We've got 106.3, the big one, it's on the 2nd floor above Edward Jones. We have a new business called Treasure Trove, which is kind of an antique shop that's beside Larry Brooks. And we have Fabulous Photography that's located beside of Shades Cafe. Since January, we've lost 1 business downtown, and that was Clothing Unlimited that Amy Metz opened right beside a farmer's market. Since the last time I've got to speak to you all, we've had 3 events downtown. The Planet Pink Walk, which I thought was very successful for the first run. The Autism Awareness Walk, we had over 130 walkers. And then just this past weekend before last, we had the March of Dimes event for kids. I think it went fabulous. We had a lot of people work. I think it went really good. We have quite a few events coming up, if you'll bear with me. Now, I'm going to tell you all these, but if you get a chance, go to our website, discoverdowntownmiddlesboro.org. These are all listed on our websites. We have the March of Dimes event that's coming up. This is their official Bell County Walk. It's going to be at Lincoln Park. That's May 20th. That's a Sunday, and that registration's at 1. The walk begins at 2. We have the Thunder in the Crater, and this is put on by the Heaven Saints Motorcycle Ministry. That's going to be June 8th and 9th. That starts on a Friday night. It's just music down on the parking lot. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m., it's going to be a motorcycle ride. And then on the 10th, is Biker Sunday at Southside Baptist Church. So the whole weekend's just mirrored around motorcycles and Christian music. After that, we have Local Flair on the Square. That's going to be June 16th. This is a farmer's market type. If you make it, you build it, you grow it, you can sell it at our event. And it's going to be right at near farmer's market. It's going to start at 9 a.m. and it's going to end about 1 p.m. It's more of an adult-oriented event, but bring your kids. And then after that, we have another event that just came up that people are just calling me wanting to have their own events, which I think is fabulous. But we're going to have a concert series on Saturday, June 23rd, downtown, or on the city parking lot at the stage. It's going to be from 1 to 7 p.m. We've already started getting calls from nonprofits and churches going to set up as vendors to help with that event. If you know anybody, this is great for school groups that are trying to raise money to come and just set up and sell stuff. There's no cost. They keep their profits, but it has to be like a nonprofit or a church. We have Relay for Life for Bell County's coming up. Starts on Friday at 7 o'clock, June 8th, and it goes to 7 a.m. in the morning, and that's at Bell High. And I think that's all my events for now. But like I said, we're keeping our website updated on our events. So if you get, like we've set the date for our Halloween event and our Christmas event and all that. And our Ducky Dash is the second weekend in August.
One more, I think, and it's not downtown, but isn't the car show also?
Yes, I've got that. Cruise in the Crater starts in May and it goes to September. It's the third weekend. And we've worked with the mall to make sure we have no events planned at that same time, but we do have one on the same day. Ours ends hours before theirs begin, but we've been working with the mall on that, so it actually starts this weekend, so if y'all can make it to
Does the
that.
Daily News get a schedule of this, other than having to look it up on the website? Are you getting it?
Make sure we get it.
Yeah, that way it makes it easier where they don't have to hunt for it, so.
And one other to the public, anytime you come to my office and ask about the possibility of the parking lot and everything else, we're gonna do anything we can to help. But with that being said, I still put Casey Thomas as sort of a contact because she's got the scheduling and it helps us because she can show you where all the stages are, the electricity, anything possibly that can be used downtown. She's better suited to go ahead and take care of that. So when I put you toward her, it's not putting you off from using the area, it's trying to make everything run smoother and give the Downtown Association a chance if you're doing something, they might be able to open up and do things with their stores and products and restaurants and all, which is big for the city and we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Anyone else on community
I got one more.
development? Yes, sir.
Actually, I just want to follow up, it's actually in the street committee. The last time we talked about the drain between 26th and Exeter, and also the
Yes.
street signs between 20th and 26th Street. I just want to follow up on that.
Yeah. My understanding, the signs are ordered,
Okay.
and on the drain, that's a little more involved, because as I said before, we are finding out part of the manhole and all through the years has got filled with concrete to where we've got to make some adjustments, and that's gonna be a little larger project than just maybe opening up a pipe.
I just
So
wanted
it's
to-
something we need to look at hard. Thank you. Finance.
The only thing I have on finance is that the whole council will need to meet twice in the month of January.
Yes. Yes. And the reason being is June.
I mean June, I'm sorry, June. I'm back in January, I'm ready for January again.
Be easy now. And the reason Ms. Farmer's brought that up is we will have a budget to you here in the last week of this month, which we will have to look at and get a chance to have 2 readings of it in June. and to go through, and that is part of hers. She has, and I want to thank her, she has been over here to discuss with the auditor, who hasn't met with us yet, but she has come through and been doing things, and has discussed to Evelyn some as finance chair, so I think it's something that's been very important, I do appreciate it.
We just want to have it before the.
Well, I want to look at this hard, what I think might work better is look at the 5th and the 19th, which 19th is our regular schedule. But as we talked about when we did all this, we'll find one. Let's look. I don't want to say yet because we're still in a situation. I hope to have not only the budget, and Chief Sharp I see back there, and I want to give him a plug and thank him. Not only the budget, but we also have a budget amendment we need to look. So I'm trying to get all these completely done because we need to do them before the fiscal year ends. So, and I want to thank Chief Sharp because he's worked with me on quite a bit of this. We've done it. Miss Wilson, the clerk, they've been real instrumental. And one thing I will say is the auditor give us a little bit of a plug for our software and all. She says that has helped move things along quite a bit to where there wasn't as much they had to go back and look at and make adjustments and changes to, and that is a good thing. So I want to thank the whole clerk's office, not only Sandy, but all the ladies down there have worked very hard in making sure things go in place. Anyone else on finance? Hearing none, I want to add one thing to the council, and this is informational only. I don't really need a motion or anything, but our city attorney is looking. Back in '83, there was some bonding and stuff done and all for the Village Square Mall, the expansion of the Kroger's, being able to move it over there and build it new, bringing the McDonald's, changing the, what at that time was Big B. All that was worked through some bonding in '83. It has been paid off late part of 2010, and because McDonald's is now getting ready to remodel and look, an attorney has caught and found out we still had a lien on the property. So I've got the city attorney looking at, that's a normal thing. Usually it's never found until someone's trying to move it, and then another attorney will find it. But because we were able to go ahead and bond back in and do a good project like that, now we're in the point we need to release it for them so they can do another project, and we appreciate it. Now, I don't want to mislead anybody. This new McDonald's makeover has nothing to do with any bonding or anything like that, but we do have to release the old for it. Anyone else? I'll open up to the public if anyone wants to speak. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
I got a question for the young lady.
Please step up and introduce yourself and ask her, and we'll go from there. She'll answer you, I believe. Is that to Miss Thomas?
Miss Thomas.
Okay.
She's talking about the farmer's market. Last year, there was nobody down there. All summer long, there was nobody down there. And when they opened the farmer's market, there was a big uproar over it. And you're putting a limit on how long a person can stay there. Now, I'm a retired person. But when I was working, I worked Saturdays. I didn't have the opportunity to get at 1 o'clock to get there. I say you ought to extend the hours to get it to work.
Well, and that's something I think you'd be open to look at, wouldn't you, on that, Ms.
Be
Thomas?
open to look
Not
at
this one coming, but as we go forward, we can look at it.
In the past, with the farmer's market, I was not involved and did not have this job, and this is my first attempt to try to get that kickback off and to see how it goes this first time. And I feel if it's success, that perhaps...
Well, what I'm saying is, when it first started, it didn't work because the hours wasn't long enough for the people to do
Get
their
off work
business.
to come shop. Okay, I understand that. I mean, going forward, we will take that in
That's what it
consideration.
And discuss it with the vendors and see how.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to take up 2 minutes of your time.
Okay.
A question and an invitation. Question first.
I don't know if this is the right forum. Who is in charge of keeping up the tourism gazebo? Does anybody know?
That's probably a good question.
And the reason I ask that is because in the short time that I've been here in Middlesboro, I haven't seen anybody clean it up, keep it up since it was instituted years ago. I'd be glad to offer my services, bring out the old weed whacker, give it a coat of paint on behalf of the station or just as a citizen. But I think if that's the first welcome that we have to Middlesboro, it needs to be a little more kept up.
That's out there by on 25E.
Like our Burger King.
Yeah, between Burger King and Aaron's.
So let me, before we do anything, why don't we have a conversation, let's see how all that evolved, and let's find out. We do appreciate it, Brian, and maybe it's something we need to look at it doing too, through the garage, but I'm not real sure exactly if that was part of state doing that, if that was city or anything, so I really need to revisit a little bit before I say we can even say someone can or can't, because it could be state also on that, but I do appreciate it.
Okay.
And I will keep you informed as we go on about it, because
Okay.
we'll always take help. We're
Okay.
never gonna turn help down.
The other, very quickly, is I'm planning a town hall meeting, which will not be something where everybody just sits around and yells at local officials. It will be moderated. It will be done in a very civil manner. It'll be an opportunity for the public to speak to all of the public officials collectively. I'm planning this for the third week in June, trying to catch it before everybody goes to their vacations for the summer. And I haven't set the exact date, whether it will be a Friday or Saturday. I don't want to take anybody away from their families, but I have 3 places I'm planning on holding it, and depending on where the facility lies, I would like it to be central for everyone. At one point, I thought about the park, Pine Mountain, but some people might say, well, that's an awful long way to drive. Albee Brock, Judge Executive, has offered the fiscal courtroom. That may be too small. The only other 2 places I can think of are the Civic Center here in Middlesboro and the Fine Arts Building. I think the Fine Arts Building would be a much nicer setting. I'm in the process of finding out what that would take. But I am inviting all of you, all the media, anyone else who wants to participate. Again, it will be moderated, and it will be a civil discussion of things that are facing our community. I know the Bell County Summit tends to do that, but for the average Joe to come and speak to the elected officials. Granted, half the seats on this side of the room are not even filled up, and they have an opportunity. But I think that can change.
Two things on. One, I don't think we'd have a problem with the Civic Center. It just, we need to check schedules and all sort of things like that. The other one I'll put out early. If it's anywhere from the 21st to the 24th, I'll be gone because I've got a KLC meeting, League of City meetings in Paducah, Kentucky.
I understand.
So just so we know that ahead so it doesn't come up there. But we would work with you on Civic Center if we can set a date that would work.
Thank you for your time.
No trouble. Thank you. Anyone else? Looking for a second. All in favor? Mr. Doug, you get up.
Thank you for watching this production of Newsbeat from 106.3 FM and Hometown TV 13.